Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Tonight, Fear Street gets witchy, theater owners get whiny, and there might be a little hashtag Snyder Watch segment this episode. Otherwise, we're playing it loosey goosey. How are you guys doing? Loosey goosey. What is wrong with me? How are you guys doing today?
I'm good.
I'm good. Just walked in the door, pretty much.
Also, I bet you got things to talk about. What are you? Why? Where were you?
We were just kind of all over western Nebraska, so really nothing to talk about. Other than I ate good food and I drank good beverage. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the desires of I don't know. Well, maybe not a Viking, but something,
Yeah.
Good grog and
Channel my inner Thor and Loki.
yeah.
Did you see lots of cows and corn?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I kind of get why we're the flyover state. Yeah.
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 There's not even telephone poles at certain points. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Traveling out western Nebraska, especially, like, at least over on the east side, we kind of have some hills. They're not big hills, but they break up the landscape a little bit. Man, the closer you get to Colorado before it goes all crazy, there's just nothing. It's just flat.
We were like in sandhill country too, so like the best you can hope for is brown.
Yeah.
Right.
Like different degrees of brown.
Different shades of brown. Okay, well, I was wrong. You had
Yeah, no, you will get no time filler from me, sir.
Yeah, otherwise we're winging it. So I guess we'll just jump into what we've been watching lately, because I don't have anything else to talk about.
Winging it like a sandhill crane.
That's
there
right.
we go. There's the tying it together.
Nice segue.
Yeah.
Gotta have that segue. Honestly, not a whole lot. Melanie and I watched a couple of movies. Well, it must have been last weekend. And otherwise, not too much. But of those movies we watched, one of them was the third and final installment in the Netflix Fear Street trilogy of films. Fear Street Part 3, 1666. It's almost the year of the beast.
Yeah.
Just 1,000 years too late. And this wraps up. We've talked about Fear Street the last 2 weeks. We mentioned it because we've been watching it as it comes out on Netflix. And, I guess the title would indicate, because the first one was 1994, then you had 1978, and this one you got 1666. And this one and the last one, 1994, the 1994 segment kind of serves as like a wraparound for each movie, really, because essentially the second and third movies are like the flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
And the last two movies, they were okay, middle of the road, not amazing, like a little cheesy in their exposition delivery and stuff like that, but in terms of like kind of supernatural slasher movies, I thought they had, some things going for them. Some good gore for a modern slasher, for sure.
Yeah.
This one is different. Melanie, what did you think of this one?
It was pretty good. I was surprised a little by the direction it went. I didn't necessarily suspect the entire thing. There was some of it that I thought maybe it's going to go this direction, but the whole way of where it went, like who is the responsible parties and all that surprised me a little.
Yeah, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers, and we're not going to talk about it too much, but I actually felt the way the exposition was delivered this episode was better than the first two, or this, you could call it an episode, this installment was better than the first two.
Yeah.
Because essentially the majority of this one serves to like explain everything, which could be the most dangerous when it comes to exposition. But instead of, I mean, they did the movie thing. They showed instead of told. They essentially took one of our main characters from the previous movies and had them live out the experiences that kind of explain where the whole thing started.
Right.
Which was which was, I don't know, an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it worked pretty well. Actually, of course, I like a camp slasher,
Right.
but I was thinking this one, the 1666, would maybe be the least interesting, but actually, for the bulk of it, I think was the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just because it was such a different setting.
It was. It wasn't like The Witch good, but it was,
Right.
Still a fun, weird time, because it's kind of easy to make people a little crazy back in the day, because they were, at least in America.
Paul. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say Paul's behind the. Paul, we're streaming now. Are we not on Facebook? He just messaged me and asked if we were taking the week off. It's like, no, we've been streaming, man.
We're on Twitch, man.
Sweet.
We're on Facebook. It must not be. Here, I'll send him the link. It must not have notified people. Well, that's great.
I got a couple of notifications, but I don't remember where.
I don't have any notifications, but I shut my notifications off because I don't want to hear from people.
Oh, Paul
There it
just
is.
got the notification. Man, Facebook's real slow.
Delay.
Well, Paul, we're already talking about Fear Street Part 3, which is probably the one thing we're talking about this episode you're really interested in. But, Melanie mentioned The Witch. It's not, it's no The Witch, and it's definitely not, but it's almost like a CW version of The Witch.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And there is some gore, but it doesn't, like, this installment doesn't play like a slasher.
Mm-mm.
And so the gore isn't required. Know what? I take it back. There is some hardcore gore. There's a part where somebody loses an important appendage. Not inappropriate. I'm just trying not to be too super spoilery. And horrible. It was like one of those, like...
Yeah, oh yeah.
You feel pain watching it. So I take it back. There is some pretty hardcore, like, gore and violence. I think what was different about that versus the gore in the first two ones is it was violence. The other ones were like over the top slasher gore. This one seemed like violence.
Right. But this one seemed so much more personal, really, than any of the others. So that makes a difference too. The one thing I didn't like about it is because, like we already mentioned, it's the main character of the series or whatever, basically living out the history.
Mm-hmm.
The person that she was when they showed the actual person, she looked like she was like 10, and that was really weird, and I didn't care for that.
That's an interesting point. I don't think she was supposed to be that young, but the actress did look very young.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. It does the whole, because, I mean, 1666 alludes to it, and if you watch the first two, it alludes to some type of witch. It does the whole, there's going to be a witch trial type thing, right? That's not really a spoiler, and it does that very well. I felt the frustration that should go along with a witch trial.
Mm-hmm.
Ignorant people, man. It's hard to watch sometimes, and it pulls that, like, it does that pretty well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it'd be crazy to live in times when they're like, my milk is sour, someone's bewitched at my house, kill the witches. That's just nuts,
I see Jesse reacting to things. What are you reacting to? People saying things? Nope. Okay, that's cool.
Sorry, I'm trying the whole TikTok thing out. So TikTok, hello people on TikTok. I'm trying to see if I can get some sound out of it too. When I was testing it out earlier, it should be working, but also maybe it isn't. I don't know.
I'll take a break.
TikTok, please let me know if you can hear my co-hosts.
Hi.
You should be able to hear me.
Welcome. We'll stream to all of the places.
Danny O'Mani is in the live. If he can hear me, hopefully he can hear you guys.
Yeah.
You guys let me know, because otherwise this is pointless, and you should join in on Twitch.
Yep. If it works, hello TikTok. We'll stream to
Yes.
all the services, all of them.
You can hear me. Can you hear them?
I'm guessing, yeah. Basically, just ask him if he can hear anyone other than you.
Right. They're telling me they can hear me, but they can't hear. If you can't hear them, then I sound like a crazy person, which I do that a lot.
Mhm.
The Grawlix, so at Grawlix Podcast on TikTok now has one video.
Yeah.
Just refer them to that video if they're confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically this, what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They can hear you guys.
Okay.
Yay! That's good, because if you can't hear me, then why watch the show?
Yeah, exactly. So hello, TikTok. We finally figured this out.
Yay!
All right. Well, I'm gonna. Melanie, did you have other thoughts you wanted to share on the third Fear Street before we wrap that up?
No, I would just say if you're a horror fan, it's worth watching the 3. But you got to watch all 3, or I don't think it would really necessarily. None of them would pay off well without the others.
Right. They don't stand well on their own.
No.
At all. Even the third one, even though that's like kind of the core of the tale, the very beginning and the end would be so confusing if you're like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what's all this other stuff?
Right.
Why are we 1994? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Melanie is obviously the star.
Yeah.
She's the one when people say they love somebody specific on our show, it's always her.
Yay! Everyone loves me.
Yeah, these Fear Street movies, the interesting thing is, like, they're rated R. They've got some admirable gore and lots of F-bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they still feel like they're based on R.L. Stine books, but they're the R.L. Stine, like, young adult or teen series.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have that, like, made for kids of sorts feel in a way, which is, it's such a weird mix. And I guess it's not inappropriate. It's like, it's not just made for kids. It's like, this is made for you. If you were a kid in the 90s, this is for you. And it's still got that mentality of you in the 90s, but it's got the R rating.
Right.
So it's pretty strange. I will just say on the third one, I gave it 3 stars. I've given them all 3 stars because they're all, like, not bad. They're entertaining. They're not amazing. This one I wanted to rate higher than the first 2, but I docked it for the most cringy Konami code reference ever at the end. There's a heartfelt speech that revolves around the Konami code, and I'm like, no. No.
Yeah.
Stop it, kid.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying this.
Right.
Also, there's some, like, cutesy, like, wink nods at, like, maybe, like, CD players aren't any good. Maybe in the future there'll be MP3 players. And there's, like, this, and it bugged me. I had to actually research it after. Be like, did these things that they referenced existed in 1994? They did, but kids in school weren't talking about them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We always get too deep into stuff, but I think, was it like we were looking up SD cards to see, because that's what it needed, and they were like $6,000 a piece. There's no way.
Yeah, they're talking about solid state drives, and, like, it was just supposed to be like a cute little, like, someday there will be MP3 players, like, and wink and nod at technology that's not there yet. And I was like, no, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, real quick, well, maybe not, who knows. I always say real quick. The other thing we watched was Gunpowder Milkshake on Netflix, which is a movie.
Oh, I was
starring-
thinking about watching that.
Yeah. I mean,
Had a great cast.
It did.
Amy Pond.
The guy had Amy Pond. It's not her real name, but that's how we do. Listen, if you're an actor and we discovered you through Doctor Who, your character's name is just your name forever now.
Yes, that's definitely the case.
You're gonna have to accept it, with the exception of doctors.
Yeah, Capaldi's always Capaldi, Tennant's always Tennant, and such.
Capaldi's not even the 12th Doctor to me. He's the Capaldi Doctor. That's how special he is.
I feel like that's fair.
Hmm.
Well, do you want to watch it? Maybe we could talk about it on a future episode, or
Well, do you recommend it? I got a sense that you don't.
I gave it 2.5.
It's not bad necessarily. It's just generic, kind of, or like it is like so many other movies that I've seen. You know, and there's nothing super unique about it to make it stand out. Is all. I mean, it is to have the focus is all on females, which is nice, but even that they don't. I mean, not that I don't like it when they force stuff, to make it feminist or whatever, because it usually isn't when they do it that way. So that was nice, but it's I don't know.
Okay, can I ask you then?
Yes.
Because the messaging was a little unclear. Okay, so are you saying it doesn't suffer from the usual kind of like condescending or cringy thing that revolves around a thing that's supposed to be like, this is for feminism? It doesn't have that issue? I felt it didn't, but I'm a man. So.
It doesn't. It maybe it does a little bit, but if it does, it's just an undertone. It's not like the MCU female lineup that is inappropriate at that point in time and doesn't make any sense. It's just I think the characters maybe are a little clunky, but that's about it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree, because you follow, like, the main character and characters are all women, and pretty much all the men are villains, but it doesn't play it as like all men are evil. It's just all the men in this are evil.
To be fair, even the women are not good
That's
people.
true. All the women are kind
Everybody in the show is bad except maybe the little girl.
But like, I don't know. There's lots of references to female authors. Like that's a big motif.
Yeah.
And it does a lot of things that could come across poorly, but I don't feel like it did. It just did them without feeling like it had to celebrate the fact that it did them. It didn't have to, I don't know, it draw attention to it. It just did it, and just the way it is. And watching it partway through, I was thinking about that god awful Black Christmas remake, the most recent one, and how that just failed so miserably.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this one's just doing it. It's just fine. Of course, this movie is different. It's not trying to convey such a like strong message as Black Christmas was trying to, but maybe that's also the issue. Like, Black Christmas was trying real hard and it failed.
Yeah.
And this one's just having fun.
Yeah. And you know what? It almost feels like a period piece, but it's not. Like it's like it's supposed to be set in the 70s or 80s or something, but it's not. It's modern, but
okay, so I feel like for me, it's stylistic, and it's intentionally stylistic, but in a way that's kind of what makes it feel derivative, because it doesn't feel like it's just the stylistic thing. It feels like it's trying to be Kill Bill and slash, I don't know, this other thing slash this other thing, and
right.
But it feels very. That's the most manufactured aspect of it, is the style it's going for. Doesn't feel genuine.
I blame it on Amy Pond, because I think the worst part of it for me is she is not good at acting like she's tough, or she seems like she has no emotion when she tries to do that, and that's all you get from her. She when she's being funny or doing something more dramatic, she's okay, I guess, but she's not good at being the tough person. Tough
So
guy.
you're saying you don't want a Nebula Disney Plus series?
Interesting. Gametographer says, following but not showing is live on their list, and they're from Twitch. Is Twitch not showing us as live? That irritates the crap out of me.
Boo! But thank you for jumping onto our Twitch.
Or maybe whatever. Maybe he's talking about you on. It doesn't matter. Listen, we don't need these places to tell anyone we're live. We're just gonna do it anyway. And
We're gonna do it anyways,
nobody
but
will
I mean, it'd be
watch, it's
good if it worked the way it's supposed to.
Right.
It did tell you that we're live.
That'd
That
be
would
nice.
be good.
Yeah.
John Wick is the other thing. That's John Wick is the biggest thing that makes this movie feel derivative because, okay, so visually it's got a little John Wick, a little like kind of Tarantino-ish, but conceptually, the world and the plot and just it's John Wick, and that's what makes it feel derivative. Like, you don't really meet anyone who isn't a part of this big like assassin organization world, and people just go to places like, if you need a gun, you go to the library and you check out books that have guns in them and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's that whole thing where it's just this weird organization and they have this like these systems. It's the whole, like the coin thing. You walk into a place and hand them a coin. They're like, okay. Everywhere's like that. And it's like, but this isn't that world. And it's not constructed nearly as well. And that's what makes this feel very derivative, is that it's John Wick except women. And it's not annoying that it's John Wick except women. It's just like kind of forgettable because it's like, well, but John Wick does this better. But it's not bad. And if you don't have the disdain for Amy Pond that Melanie does, you'll get more enjoyment out of it. I think, yeah, you know what? And I feel bad. I have to. What is her name?
It doesn't matter. But I will.
Karen Gillian
Karen Gillian.
or Gillian? Yeah.
She's a Karen.
I feel like she does fine. She just plays it stoic. The problem is her playing it stoic. She doesn't have a lot of like presence. And then when you, what's her name? And is it Lena Headey?
Oh yeah.
What's her name from?
Circe.
Circe.
Yeah.
When she
Lannister,
shows up,
yeah.
and she's on screen, suddenly the movie changes, and you're like, oh wait, suddenly I'm having fun. And it's because like she has personality and charisma, and the way that Karen Gillian, Amy Pond is playing it, she doesn't really. It's kind of partially the character, so take that for what it. Wait.
I have to agree with the gametographer, with Bad Gamer in the chats. Donna and Clara, pretty good companions. I know we have beefs with Clara and how she was written, but but Donna is like one of my favorites. She's such a throwback.
Yeah, Donna was great, and I think Clara was a good. I think Clara would have been fine. I don't like the way that they went with her character necessarily, but if they would just stop pushing things so far, I think she would have been great. But they always got to take it too long and too weird. And
she started as the impossible girl and then became even more impossible in the end.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Exactly. Stuff in the middle, she was okay. When she was just a normal human trying to live her life, that was fine.
I feel like they didn't know. Clara didn't have a character. Are we talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Until her last season, or maybe until Capaldi, she didn't have a character. It maybe a little bit started the last season that Matt Smith was Doctor, but then they I don't know. She was just the impossible girl in just whatever random kind of MacGuffin that Moffat wanted, without any real consistency, until they're like, wait, we need to actually make her a person. So she has a job now. She's a teacher, and Danny Pink, who I didn't really care for the first time through. I recently just finished the whole Clara period, and I like Danny Pink a lot. I thought his character was super interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't like him. I like Danny Pink. I thought he was great.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just remember not liking him. But
I am a little confused about their little. Obviously, the future isn't set because they went to a future that definitely didn't happen.
Yeah, there's some real bad like inconsistencies.
Hmm. And I really quick wanted to also say Rory is my favorite. I love Rory, and one of the reasons I hate Amy so much is because she doesn't deserve him.
Yeah. Oh, you're okay. The Gametographers is in the middle of the Claire story. Claire and Capaldi. No, it's when she's with Capaldi. I feel like she becomes more of a character.
Hmm.
I wish they wouldn't have. I wish Moffat knew when to appropriately end
Hmm.
a companion's run,
Hmm. Yeah,
but
I liked Clara best as a crazy Dalek myself.
That
the
was
first
pretty good as
incarnation.
far as that goes. Like when we didn't know what was going on with her, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like, who is she and what the crud is happening?
Hmm.
You actually like her more than Capaldi. That's heresy. No one's better than Capaldi. Was it last week, or maybe I didn't even say it on the show? I think I've said it before. Capaldi's my favorite Doctor. I think he's
Hmm.
not the Doctor I'd want to travel with. He does not seem fun. A little more fun once he gets into his like middle-aged rock
Yeah.
and roll era.
Uh-huh.
But
Because when he's traveling with Bill, he seems like a little more fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
But even still, he gets intense sometimes. That I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
fascinating to
Even
watch.
Bill has to
I'd
be
hate
like,
to be around it.
I think you need to back off, Doctor. I think I
Mhm.
need to be me.
Souffle girl. Yeah, that. I'm glad she mellowed out a little bit. She
Mhm.
was super Moffat female character quirky,
Hmm.
overboard. I thought, and there's appeal to that. But if you had that every episode along with the Doctor,
Hmm.
that'd be hard for me to deal with.
Yeah.
By the way, Grawlix, Grawlix Nights, where you can come and seriously derail the show for an hour just by mentioning
Easily.
a single Doctor Who reference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just mention Doctor Who, and now you have taken over the show.
Yeah. That's okay. We didn't really have a whole lot
I'm gonna
planned, did we?
I'm gonna start including that like at the top of the episode when I do like tonight blah 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 blah. I'm gonna include unless someone mentions Doctor Who, and then this episode's about Doctor Who,
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
especially when any of us is in the middle of a rewatch.
Hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Or it does. But it doesn't.
I have a question about that. So, Randy, do you think that you would like the Capaldi Doctor as much as you do if you hadn't watched, what is that show called?
Thick of it.
Yeah.
He's such a throwback. It's hard.
Yeah, well, okay, I don't know about as much. A little bit Peter Capaldi being like kind of a weird interesting guy and having played like because before Doctor Who if you searched him up like on YouTube it's Malcolm Tucker and you would
Mhm.
learn you'd like there's so many he was Malcolm Tucker and that
Mhm.
character on its own is so great. So yeah, when I discovered him because he was cast as Doctor Who, and then was like, well, who is this guy? Wait, what's this? And I blew through a thick of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
that
you.
adds something. That
Mhm.
said, no, I still would like him because of how he comes across.
Mhm.
He's a scary doctor. He is
Yeah.
like when he first shows up, I don't know, maybe says something goofy, but then he gives Clara the attack eyebrows and like charges towards her and she like looks legitimately scared. I'm like, yes. I want a doctor who can terrify someone just by looking at them.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Well, yeah. My other. I don't know who's my favorite Doctor of the old or of the new Doctors. It's the ninth. I'm lying. It's the ninth. But of the older Doctors, is it the fourth? Right? Is long.
Yeah, Tom Baker, the
Yes.
scarf,
Mhm.
and he did
Yeah,
it for a long time.
And the reason that he's my favorite of the older Doctors is because of that. Because yeah, he gets super creepy and weird, and I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah, I would. Capaldi and Four, I think, are two of my favorite and they're kind of not the most alien, but kind of. They are uncomfortable because they could like suddenly be super like say something funny and be super
Yeah.
jovial and then flip on a dime and just
Mm-hmm.
look at you like they're about to murder you at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
I like
that's
bipolar
fascinating.
people.
It's fascinating to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, Tenet is fun, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did the Time Lord Victorious. Like he would go dark,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. You get the sense that you could just like nudge him right, and he'd just be like, "Yeah, no, that was silly. What was I thinking?" Whereas one of these
Yeah.
Right.
guys,
Yeah.
like if they go dark, you don't want to nudge them. You just want to leave the room, and that is, I feel, a more interesting character to watch.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And as he gets going, he does. I mean, they soften him a lot. He he is almost. It seems like Moffat with him. They were like, remember what they tried to do with the with the sixth Doctor. Let's actually do it and make it work. Where you start with this Doctor who's like, they were smart and they didn't make him like horribly vain or obnoxious. They just
Mhm.
made him,
Or made him try to like kill his companion by
yeah.
choking them out.
They
Mm-hmm.
just made him cold and calculating and kind of more alien or almost more like sociopathic or, and I'm not saying these are the same thing, some variation of autistic because he just doesn't seem to understand. In that first season, Capaldi, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to understand why things are affecting other people. He
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and that's interesting.
I also think it's more the way a Time Lord would behave, though, because they have long lifespans. People wouldn't you would think be as important to them. They'd be more like I've said this before, more like pets than people, as far as lifespans go, you know. And so they would have different emotions about things. So it wouldn't take everything as seriously as a lot of
Yeah.
people do.
And it's interesting. I think Tennant even kind of falls into that once in a while when his doctor feels like being petty.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they switch back and forth on that, where they will play it that way,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll be like, "Oh wait, no, that's wrong though."
Yeah.
They have that moral thing, and
Mhm.
when Capaldi, like the first season of Capaldi, that moral thing goes away,
Yeah.
and that's just how he thinks about it all the time.
You,
But he kind of slowly gets that back.
I think Jodie Whittaker could do with a little uncaring, maybe, because she cares way too much about everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm real interested. If I get, I'm into the Bill stuff already, and the
Mhm.
last few days I haven't because I work from home, so I'll put it on the other screen and stuff. And the last few days I haven't been watching it, but I'm into the Bill stuff already, and I'm super curious how it's going to strike me when I catch up to uh, the Chibi's era
Yeah.
after having rewatched all the modern stuff, like how the new stuff comes across. Yeah, I'm curious to revisit it.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Gunpowder Milkshake, I gave it 2.5 stars. It's okay. It's not a bad watch. It's real middle of the road. If
That's
you like
why we're still talking about the things we've watched.
If you like Amy Pond, give it a watch. It's not bad. I think it's Michelle Yeoh. She doesn't have a whole bunch in it, but man,
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
she shows up and actually gets
Such
to
a
do
good
action,
cast.
Mm-hmm.
it's great. Yeah, the cast is solid, and for whatever it doesn't, it's not like shoot 'em up, but for whatever reason it makes me think of that because that was like just dumb crazy action, and it also had what's his name, Paul Giamatti, I
oh.
think.
Oh,
This has Paul Giamatti, and it's better than that, I think, for sure.
Mm.
There's a long road to walk there, but
Real quick, Savannah says, "I've been here the whole time," but saying that makes me think she wasn't, and she's just trying to cover.
yeah.
that's real
Yeah.
suspicious. Savannah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Wait, she doesn't. Okay, wait. I should actually read comments before I put them up on the screen first. Okay. I don't care much for Amy Pond, Savannah says. I thought Donna was amazing, and the one girl was boring. The one
Clara?
before
Clara?
Clara.
Clara.
Claire.
Mhm. Clara.
However you say it. Yes.
Oh,
Just roll your R. It
is-
sound appropriate.
Well,
Is it you won't call her Clara because that's your daughter's name?
Right. That's her. Yeah, Savannah's daughter's name is.
So
Well, what about Rose?
I like Rose, but Rose is not the best. She's the best with Tennant, and that's about. I mean,
Oh, not Clara, not Rose. Martha, probably.
Oh,
oh yeah.
Martha got a raw deal, I think, in the writing because she starts
Mhm.
so strong.
Yeah.
She's
So
getting
strong.
her own. She's getting her own Big Finish. Of course, she is. The
mhm.
year of Martha Jones or whatever.
Ooh.
And so
Married her-
I'm kind
married-
of interested in that because she had a kind of fun little stint on Torchwood.
Mhm. Yeah.
So-
Is it going to be? When's it going to be set? Because I want to find out how she hooked up with Mickey. How did that happen?
Oh yeah.
That'd be interesting to
I
me.
don't think they're going to do that. I feel like Mickey. Big Finish, I don't think is going to work with Mickey. And if they
Oh.
are, but
Oh,
stop
right,
working
because
with
mm,
Captain Jack,
yeah.
then screw them.
Right. Oh, Ricky. Yes. Could be Mickey or Ricky. Depends on which universe.
Depends which universe you're in. Apparently, you're in the
Right.
wrong one. Get on the other side of the wall.
Except Ricky actually died or something, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
Mickey became Ricky as a whole thing.
Wait, Mickey was his actual name, right? And
Yeah,
then
Mickey
Ricky
was his
the
actual
other
name,
one.
but didn't he
Okay.
go over to that universe because his gran was over there?
Yeah.
Like my gran is still alive over there, so I'm gonna have the grandma that died, but not. Multiverse.
Hmm.
You know what's interesting?
Hmm.
I feel like Mickey and Danny Pink are kind of their characters start, or like the concept of the characters are the same place and then just handled vastly different. I never really liked Mickey, but like the show doesn't make you want to like him. The show doesn't
No.
like him.
He was
The
kind of
show-
the coward.
he's an
Mhm.
annoyance to Rose, the doctor, and the show itself. So you're like, well, why do they even bother with this guy? And eventually they kind of do some stuff with him, but I feel like for the most part they didn't really know what to do. But the idea of having like a companion who has a boyfriend who's not also a companion is
Mhm.
interesting, but they didn't know what to do with it. And I feel like the Danny Pink stuff is that idea, but handled pretty well. And he never becomes a companion. I mean, he's there, and you can kind of consider him one, but he never like travels with them,
Mhm.
and that's pretty interesting.
You know what I'd like to see if they want to, do anything great because they don't ever listen to my suggestions, but they should have
How dare they?
they should have a companion that is like married with kids. And so that like they have to go, but they have to be back to like tuck their kids in at night. They can't, show up 3 months later and be like, oh, this is good enough. Like
That's-
it seems most companions are able to do.
That's
Or if your daughter is River Song ever.
Yeah.
right. That's kind of what they did a little bit with Clara and Danny Pink, except the kids thing. Man,
Yeah.
the kids would change that dynamic so
Yeah.
much.
Right.
The interactions between Mickey and Jack were on point, Paul says. So the Doctor and Al Bundy.
I would think Peg would be a better suit for the Doctor, but
This rewatch, I was disappointed when I seen Martha pop up with Mickey, and I was like, oh, they didn't have to do that. I mean, it's better than Perry getting a little like whatever in Classic Who,
mhm.
like killed
Yeah.
off, and then it's like, oh no, she actually married this homicidal maniac that she hated.
right,
It's like,
right.
he's fine.
He had no chemistry with, yeah.
Oh, Leela, no, this little pipsqueak randomly on Gallifrey. Yeah, she's just gonna leave and marry that guy.
That, yeah.
But maybe she liked it because he made her feel like the strong woman she always tried to be. That kind of makes sense.
Leela.
There's a budding romance in Unit. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jasper, what's going on? By the way, Jasper.
Hey, yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Jasper, I was gonna say is with child, but that's like when someone's pregnant, right?
Right.
Jasper just had a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing out the what up fam. Throwing out some Whitaker on us. This is a very Doctor Who heavy show for not having any plan to do Doctor Who stuff at all.
Nope.
I'm always okay with that.
Yeah.
BT dubs. Yeah.
The thing with Doctor Who is like we don't need a set topic for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
We got 50 years of content, 50 plus, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do notes sometimes, or if we have like we'll have to look up stories if we're going to do news stories or something, or a list of like we watched this, so we're going to talk about this. This will be the main thing. No, if we're going to do Doctor Who, we don't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We could just get on and talk. Maybe that's what. Maybe we need to mandate like one episode a month, Doctor Who episode.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what. That's the plan. It's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. But we never even found out if Jesse watched anything.
Oh, I watched the Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime.
Did you watch Doctor Who? No. Tomorrow War?
No, I watched Bad Time Travel. Really
bad?
It was dumb and fun. Like I even did a TikTok. So for my TikTok crew, like this inspired a whole prompt. I've been doing like question a day kind of thing. And it was like, what's dumb and fun? Well, the Tomorrow War was dumb and fun because there were like moments that were like really kind of clever and smartly thought out. And then there was like a scene, like I sorry if I'm going to spoil this for you, but there's like a scene where they literally ramp a snowmobile into the neck of an alien that looks like a displacer beast dog cat creature. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing for you guys, but there is a moment where it's like they ramped a snowmobile. I can't even fathom how hard that would be to pull off.
That sounds
like
amazing.
Ramping a snowmobile. Like you'd have to be like basically jumping off of a snow cliff at the perfect time, and it would have to be the perfect angle to hit this thing. It was awesome. But so dumb. It was so dumb.
Right.
Like that would never happen.
Well, if it was Owen Wilson driving, then I'd be all.
Oh,
for
right.
it.
Yeah. I mean, but I had this whole moment where it's like, I just started laughing because I was like, this is incredible and so stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we were going to watch that at some point, but we never did. But so you would recommend then?
It's a fun watch. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Don't expect IR, and there will be moments where you stop and go, but that doesn't even make sense. Like you just set up a set of rules, and I feel like you broke those rules.
Really, I was gonna ask like how the time, how well the time travel aspect is handled.
Yeah. Well, that was before we never watched it, but before we even were like, yeah, we should watch this. I was like, wait a minute. I don't understand how that would, but yeah, time travel. I don't think you can do time travel really without there being some weirdness about it,
The Gametographer says that describes all my favorite movies, dumb and fun. 1000% watch. Don't think, just watch. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the most fair assessment of this movie. It's like, don't overthink it. Go with their explanation and just have fun.
Right.
Because it is fun. It really is.
Yeah. To be fair, that's most time travel movies. Not that they're all dumb and fun, but man, there's time travels.
Well, I was explaining the flaw. I was explaining the flaw of Back to the Future today while we were driving across Nebraska, where it was like, yeah, they didn't take into account the fact that the Earth orbits the sun. So if you didn't calculate where the DeLorean would land in 1955, you could conceivably just wind up in space.
Right.
Just in orbit.
Jasper, when you say I am quiet, do you mean my microphone volume? Because if that's the case, I want to know because it's been an ongoing issue. I changed microphones today, but
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely quieter than Jesse, but I can't hear myself, so I don't know if how much louder I am than you.
He's on it. He's on the mic.
Hmm.
It's an issue, and I feel like part of it might be my computer or my setup. Maybe I have a short somewhere in the like interface, or StreamYard also. Whoever's hosting, I feel like in StreamYard, their volume's always kind of low.
Hmm. Yeah. I know that there have been times when we've been on StreamYard and then switched to a different platform or whatever, just for us to talk to each other, and the sound's completely different. So it could probably be a big part of it.
Well, I'm not sure what we do other than StreamYard. I tried this other service out that isn't as polished in terms of live streaming, so we probably won't do that. But
The one that crashed my computer.
yeah, and I didn't email them. I found a bug that let me crash Melanie's computer. It's terrible. That's a bad bug. Listen, if your web app platform lets one person somewhere crash someone else's computer, that's a bad bug.
Right.
I did report it in there to them. I was going to send an email to let them know. I totally forgot.
And it wasn't even like a big thing. It was like type in this field and hit enter, and then my stuff's down.
Yeah. It would boot us both out, and the first time I did it, it crashed your computer. And that's all it was. I was just trying to rename the recording file in the app thing, and it crashed her computer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a serious bug. I'm not, and since we're talking about that, I'm not going to say what service it was.
Can we say that it was not Discord though?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't Discord. Anyway, but
Game Talker wants to know why I have to ruin all of the subs.
oh,
Too? I just think too much, baby.
I missed a bunch of that because Jesse's audio just took a dump.
Am I way lower? Or
No, it was just
it's like when noise reduction goes ape and tries to reduce everything.
yeah.
Oh.
Just for parts of it at least.
See, it's because StreamYard was like, don't be talking. Don't be talking.
Okay, so now
You're back.
Jasper says I'm messed up too.
No, you're back now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yours sounded like it's like when you're on Zoom or something like that and someone else is talking, everyone else's audio kind of gets blah, 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 because the system thinks like, oh, if someone else is talking, this is the one I should be listening to. Their noise, we're going to dip them out.
Right.
That's what you sounded like. You were getting dipped out.
Oh.
Anyway, this is all too much inside baseball talk, I think. Well, except for when it's evident what's happening. Something weird.
I mean, what a good 75% to 80% of our audience right now are all podcasters. So
that's a good point. That's a good
or have
point.
been podcasters.
Maybe that's the thing. That's the problem. We've been talking about the wrong stuff. Everybody's like, we don't care what movies you watch. Tell us about podcasts.
Tell us about why your mic doesn't work.
We do tend to inspire that in people though, you know?
We do.
Yeah. At least 3 or 4 people that
We
were
make
fans.
podcasters.
Yeah, were inspired to podcast, so.
We made them.
And Savannah's there to remind us that we need to knock it off. She's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't care about this nonsense.
Oh, real quick, this kind of ties into, I guess, weird tech stuff. So, last few weeks we talked about Loki, and sometimes Melanie was over here when we'd watch it because I'd always watch it with Melanie. Sometimes she wasn't. She was at her house, so we tried Disney Plus's Watch Together feature.
Oh,
it's frustrating. It doesn't work very well.
No.
Sometimes
that's
it would work.
disappointing.
They're freaking Disney. Like some little company that operates through a Chrome extension did it better. You're Disney. Why can you not it's very frustrating because the whole thing is like you find the title you're going to watch and then you click the little thing that says watch together. You click that and then you get like an invite link or whatever. And then somebody needs an account. They can be on your same account and then they go to that link or whatever and join in, and it's supposed to sync the video together. Yeah, Jasper said Xbox used to have that for Netflix. Years ago, like a decade ago, I feel like Netflix had something like that for Xbox. Yet they don't have that like now, Netflix.
But they still have that watch or whatever it is.
Right, there's third parties that'll do it.
Oh.
Movies Anywhere has a thing, Gametographer says.
Was it Nintendo Switch for a long time had to have their own app so that you could talk on Fortnite. So like in order to do, voice VoIP function, essentially what Discord does, you had to have a app on your mobile phone so that you could use the microphone through your phone to talk to your friends who were playing on Fortnite.
Yeah.
And of course there was going to be some latency with that. And why would that matter in a real time, first person shooter or three-quarter person shooter, like that could make the difference of, winning or losing. And now you can just plug in to the top of your Switch. But for a while there, they had an app. It was like weird.
Yeah, Jasper says he hates how Nintendo Online is set up. I have not owned a Nintendo system in a long time. I was going to say since before them connecting to online was a thing, but that's not necessarily true because the Super Famicom had a thing.
Technically, yeah.
Back in the day. Anyway.
Right.
Super Nintendo's the last Nintendo system I owned. But I've heard lots of people complain about how kind of like behind the times Nintendo's online aspects are. And then I watch a lot of Mario Maker videos on YouTube, and anytime like people are playing online together, and this is Mario, it seems like everyone's on the worst connection in the world. It seems so janky. I'm like, how could you stand to play it with that much lag? And that's not like that's a 2D Mario game. That's not a map full of people running around in a 3D space. Like how do you? It's weird. What's up, Jonathan? Jonathan says, cool podcast. Nice to see you again.
It is, and it is again.
Best online Nintendo product was GameCube, Jasper says. Jasper.
I think part of what you were talking about as far as like connectivity for Nintendo is I think the Switch is designed kind of organically to just connect to Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is not the best way to connect.
No, yeah.
Like in order to connect straight to a LAN, you have to get an adapter. So you have to get a USB adapter so that you can so that you can like hardline into your Switch dock and get a full, internet connection.
Well,
like you're supposed to have.
Soon, hopefully, the sky will be full of what are those satellites, and the whole world will have internet. It'll just be one big internet ball, and then everybody can play anything they want all the time. I'm saying that unhappily, actually, because I don't like that. But
okay, well, anyway, real quick, because that makes me think of more things to talk about, but I want to wrap this little bit up. So yeah, Disney Plus Watch Together was frustrating. We recently, Melanie and I watched. Oh, I shouldn't even mention it because it's going to derail us. Rick and Morty on. I really shouldn't have said it on Plex, which is like home server. Plex also has like free channels and different stuff you can watch. We might have been watching something, not Rick and Morty, on Plex that I had downloaded, and Plex has a Watch Together feature. And maybe it's because we were streaming it from my computer, or like she was streaming it from my computer, but that worked perfect. Immaculate.
Yeah.
And it's like Disney Plex can get its act together on this. Why can't you? And that's streaming from my computer, and maybe that's part of the deal. But it's like that's just off my computer, you know, through it. I believe off of a not even an SSD hard drive because it's on an external. And you're Disney.
Yeah.
You have server farms.
You've got money to pump into it. Just stop being cheapos and pump the money into it. Get it right. Because I mean, I can with other services, not just what Plex. Sometimes you might not be exactly timed right with each other, but if you're not, it doesn't fast forward one person like Disney did to ahead to try to sync them up, and then still not have it right, and you continue playing while the other person has stopped. It was such a pain in the butt. It was ridiculous.
I think that's part of the thing with Disney's. It was trying to be on sync, like Melanie said, to where it would speed one up then to match sync. But once it would do that, it would essentially, once it would match sync again, it would lose sync. And then like when one person pauses, the other one would just keep playing. And it's like, that's beside the point, man. What are you doing?
Right.
Jasper's got, he says that he thinks the Steam Deck is going to be awesome. Have you guys heard of the Steam Deck?
I have not.
This is like yet another attempt at a console, or what?
Basically, it is. Yeah. So before Steam had released, they had tried like a thing.
Yeah.
But this is basically Steam version of a Switch, but since it's Steam, it's just a PC that's kind of like a Switch. It's got the big touch screen with the handheld system. It will have a dock. It's not exactly the Switch, of course, but it's like Switch, but since it's a Steam machine, it's just a PC. And they're like, and it's going to come with Steam OS on it, of course, but it's not locked down. You can put Windows on there if you want. We don't care. It's your hardware. So,
Thursdays at 8.
30.
yeah.
Yes.
How often we podcast? Maybe we'll stick with Thursdays at 8 for a little bit, see what happens. We keep talking about changing it, but Thursdays at
8:30.
8:30 p.m. Central Time. I don't know what time zone everybody's in, but yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Paul's. Wouldn't Steam be bad for the electronics?
That's a bad dad joke. Bad dad.
Which make the best dad jokes, FYI.
But of course, Jasper's going to derail us with video game stuff. But yeah, no, the Steam Deck actually does look pretty cool. Yeah.
How long before Epic Games does the same thing?
I don't know, but you could install your Epic Game Launcher on this.
Oh, fair enough.
Whatever. You put Windows on there. You put Epic Game Launcher. We could put other stores on there. We don't care.
Touche, Steam.
Right.
Touche.
Which is like the best attitude to have.
Yeah.
And it's like the anti-Nintendo attitude. They're like, so this is our version of the Switch, except not Nintendo at all, because Nintendo's, famously
Proprietary, and you
everything.
can't. Yeah.
Everything's locked down. So, which, whatever. That's Nintendo's thing. That's what it's the Apple. Nintendo and Apple are very similar in my mind with how they approach things.
Right.
Let's see. Jasper says, I would have to have it work in person. Yeah, he'd have to check it out, the Steam Deck. The specs look good for what it is. That's the whole thing. It's like, so, okay. And they're like, it can run. Something that surprised me is they're not like promoting it as like, stream games from your PC. They're not even playing it like that. They're like, it can run most AAA games or a portion of AAA games, which is inferring that like it's beefy enough to run most of the games you can buy on there, which is pretty bold.
Do you have to charge it a lot?
That's the thing. Like if you're playing something intense,
right?
And I don't think you're going to get ultra settings on any like super advanced games on there. But if you're playing something that is taxing, it's going to It's
The Switch, you have
like
to have
2
like a
hours.
legit power source, like I have like a third party Switch dock so that I can leave the regular Switch dock in the living room, so I don't have to like unplug it and move the whole thing into my office. And if I don't have the right kind of like USB-C power delivery cord,
Right.
then I can be playing Fortnite on my monitor here, and I'll be like slowly losing power,
Right.
or just not charging at all, kind of thing, because I'm not getting enough power compared to what I'm putting out or what I'm using.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I know, and this is not necessarily the same, but my nephew recently got a VR headset you don't have to plug it into the computer. It's has its own little computer system, but you have to charge it for like 3 hours for like an hour or two of gameplay, and I'm like, that's ridiculous, But
Right.
and with other things, I'm sure it's a little different because you probably can leave it plugged in while you're using it. But they need to, I don't know, they need to make batteries better so that we don't have to keep charging everything all the time.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, as they make the electronics more powerful, like, yeah, you kind of need to adjust the battery consumption, or just be like, well, mobile's not as plausible anymore as it used to be.
Yeah, that's.
I'm definitely interested in it for exactly the reason that Lem points out. Like 200 plus is probably like, I feel like that's a conservative number for most people who have Steam. Like, how many games do you have on Steam that you've never even installed?
Yeah,
Now you can take it with you.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was about to comment. They said they need to get through their 200 plus Steam library. That is, like, what was the exact number? That is extremely common. It's definitely the same with mine. There's so many games in there that I've never played, or there's games that I played like years ago, like the Max Payne games and a bunch of the old GTA games. Like at one point, Rockstar, there was a sale on all their games. I was like, even though I had played through all those, I was like, yeah, I'll buy them, I'll play them again, and then I just never play them. I can't remember the percentage, but it's something crazy like only 35% of all games purchased through Steam ever get played, or something like that. People just buy them and then don't play them. And if you look through, my Steam library, there's a bunch of stuff I've never even played.
Right. But, there's only so much time in life, so you gotta...
yeah, that's fair.
Steam is so good at, though, like, it's the sales, and it's the, like, it's not necessarily a good thing, but they're so good at, like,
oh yeah,
hey, you might not have been thinking about playing this, but this is such a good deal, right? Check this out. You're like,
and
it is a good deal. What if we, then we'll have it.
Right. And also, speaking of good deals, if you want good deals on Steam games, you know what you can do?
Go to grawlixpodcast.com/humble. That's our affiliate link for Humble Bundle, because most of the games you buy on Humble, they'll just, not all of them, but most of them,
They'll be codes.
Just give you a Steam code to download it anyway.
Yep.
So,
and you'll be helping out charity.
That's right.
Yep. So you can feel good while you save money and get awesome games to play.
That is our affiliate link for
that you'll hopefully play, maybe on a Steam Deck someday.
Is that the only people we're affiliated with? I mean, not people, but group.
Oh,
Just
I could also have affiliate links for. I forgot. There are two places. There's comic book places. There's basically go to grawlixpodcast.com, and if you see an ad for something, I don't think I have Google ads on there. Any ads on there are like ones that I place myself for comic book places. Things from Another World, and there's another comic book place that we have affiliate links for.
Yep. So go to those places. Yay!
Oh yeah. Game Talk. Did you say Lem?
Lem? Yeah.
Okay.
That's his
Lem
actual
says,
name.
Helping charity, or if you're a streamer, giveaways. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I wonder how many. Humble Bundle's another thing. Like, that contributes to the Steam pile up. But then again, I know I've looked through there and been like, wait, what was that I never redeemed that code. What was that for? Because
Yeah.
you buy bundles of stuff and
Well, Gametographer was going through his his list of games he's never played, and he was listing off like all these Lego games, and it was like, I bought a Humble Bundle too,
Uh-huh.
a Lego Humble Bundle or whatever, you know,
Mhm.
because I have a ton of Lego games that I've just barely even cracked. Like, the only one I've actually played into hardly at all was maybe Marvel Superheroes 1, and then I have Marvel Superheroes 2 on Switch, but I barely scratched the surface on that because I was like, maybe I need to play the first one first. And then my computer crashed.
oh man, there's a couple games I downloaded like when I was doing not even the Twitch like the Twitch streams, but when I was doing random Let's Plays on the Grawlix channel,
Mhm.
Grawlix YouTube channel, there was games like I would think of while doing the thing, be like, oh, what was that game? I'm gonna buy that and play that sometime, and I'll buy that and then just never play it.
Mhm.
Never
Sure,
do a
yeah.
video on it. Yeah, like that game that had David Bowie in it. God, what
You have a
was
game
it?
that has David Bowie in it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a great game, but it's Omicron or something like that. And it was a Dreamcast game, and I had randomly thought of it
Wow.
while playing that Judge Dredd first-person shooter game I played through,
Uh-huh.
because some of the environment reminded me of it a little bit, and I was like, "What was that game?" And I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, that had David Bowie in it!" And yeah, and I checked it out, and it was on Steam, so I bought it, and I just never played it. But that's an old game.
Mhm. Is he a tiger?
No, but I think he's like a alien creature thing. Hold on, let me
Yeah. I always love the
I feel
strange
like
things they
that's
do
a
with Bowie.
reference that I don't get, where he's a tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a reference to actually a couple different things. I don't know, they do so many weird things with Bowie and everything.
Omicron. Am I still okay? Omicron, the Nomad Soul. Uh, okay.
It's a great name.
I don't know what
It makes me
this
feel
is
like
not a. Go
the
ahead.
Futurama Alien King guy.
Let me
from,
share
like,
my screen. Sorry, audio
Omicron
listeners.
Procyon 5.
There's David Bowie. I don't know what he is. He's not a tiger.
Oh,
though.
yeah. Huh.
I am the one they call the writer. I have been living on the multi-plane network for 200 of your years. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. It's like a oh wow.
You don't play as him. He's just like he's a character. But of course, they gave him like he gets the cover.
Yeah, he's the thumbnail. Yeah.
I
Like-
feel like at this point, he also I think did the music or had something to do with the soundtrack. The only thing I remember, because this is a Dreamcast game, and I used to room with somebody who had one, and the only thing I really recall from it was just being so lost, wandering around this 3D city and not knowing where to go. And all right, Jasper, take it easy. And but it had a sweet, weird, like alien score or some weird sounds. It had a very interesting like atmosphere. And that's all I really remember of it.
It's got future alien strip clubs. That's always fun.
Yeah. Ooh. Look at that. Look at those polygons.
welcome to the Grawlix podcast, folks.
This is what happens. This is why we don't talk about video games very often.
You never
This
know what you're
happens.
gonna get.
All right. Well, Jasper's gone. We can stop talking about games now. No, he. That's what Jasper really digs. So, if he's gonna derail us, it's usually with that.
Mhm.
I guess we didn't need to do news.
Yeah.
No, not even a little.
I will do one news story because it's a non-story, but it's something that's interesting that I hadn't heard of. Jordan Peele, he released a poster for an upcoming horror movie he's doing. I didn't know he was doing a horror movie, and nobody seems to know anything about it. But it's called Nope.
I love the titles to his films, man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that like a chain coming from a cloud?
It looks like
I don't need to know more. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
okay, it kind of looks like those, what do they call it? Like a streamer or a banner thing at like a
Yeah.
used car lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what it looks like if I look at
Okay.
it close. Or a circus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Nope.
that really doesn't give anything away.
No. Nope.
Nope.
And
Sure
it's just,
doesn't.
yeah, like a weird cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
What's this place? It's
It's a
interesting.
town.
Huh.
Yeah, I wonder what it's about. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it though.
Only
Yeah,
in
I haven't been
theaters.
disappointed, man.
Yeah.
Select sequences filmed with IMAX cameras. Oh, he's getting the IMAX treatment. The
Ooh.
hey, we'll throw extra money if you film certain sequences in IMAX, and then we'll show it in IMAX and make extra money that way.
I feel like that's gametographer. I feel like that's a good response. I mean, like that movie was messed up.
Get Out. Yeah, Get
Yeah,
Out was great.
Mhm.
Us was good, but
it was good, but not quite as. I mean, it was creepy, but not quite
Mhm.
as scary as. I don't
Right.
know, like as unbelievable as Get Out was. It was like, oh no.
It was, yeah, but Get Out was it was scary and weird, but it was still set in like this reality, and
Right.
Us was something different.
Sure.
It had a lot of creepy and maybe scary. I'm a sucker for jump scares. I don't enjoy them, but I get scared by birds flying out of bushes.
but
like
they're
any.
very effective.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
right.
So yeah, I would in that way I would say that maybe Us is more scary to me just because it's more like that. There's
Sure.
more tension and jumpiness. But it's overall I'd say it's definitely less real and less impactful. So you're not gonna poop if you watch it. Go ahead.
No,
There you have it.
Us is interesting in that the concept is way more abstract and strange
Yeah.
than Get Out. But oddly enough, I felt like it over-explained some things and didn't explain anything
Mm-hmm.
that it needed to.
Right.
Like Hands Across America. I was too young to really I don't
Right.
remember what that was, and that is the
Mhm.
central important comment that if you know what that is, then the whole climax of the movie might make some sense. If you don't know what that
Right.
is, it's like, well, why are they weird? Why are they doing that?
Right. They won't hold your hand and walk you through it. Yeah?
Eh.
Nice.
No. I don't know if it was nice.
No, not Us. Get Out was going to have a much darker ending.
Yeah.
Darker than it had? Whoa.
I
was a
think
dark movie.
originally, at the end, I think it plays out the way it had. Spoilers for, I guess, some spoilers for Get Out if you haven't seen it. Except instead of his friend showing up, it was going to be regular cops, and then
Oh,
the situation was going to play out probably like you'd expect,
Right.
which is
Oh,
would be
crap.
more impactful, but
Such a
definitely
downer.
changes the tone of the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, is it's a little unbelievable that his security friend shows up, but it made for a happier ending.
Mhm.
Sure. It probably needed a little levity after, the whole theme of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It says, so glad it didn't do that. Normally, that's the kind of change where I'm like, you ruined his vision. That's the whole point. It should leave you.
Right.
The whole point of it should leave you feeling like a.
Do you
piece of
want a
crap.
Snyder cut? This is how we get Snyder cuts.
But whatever. The movie's strong enough. They're
Right.
happy, audience-friendly ending doesn't ruin it at all. It's fine.
Right.
It's probably a good call. Maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So other than that, we're not going to do any other news. The main thing was just like, hey, he's doing another horror movie. That's awesome, and that's a great title.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. It's got me thinking.
We didn't even do the Snyder watch. We didn't do nothing. I was gonna play the video again.
Well, we can, we can save it. We can save it for next time.
Oh
Nope.
yeah,
Yeah.
Snyder Watch keeps, man.
Hmm.
That's right. Whether you want it or not, it's like a bad penny. You can't get rid of it.
It keeps coming up.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up then. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Jesse, wait. I was just thinking of the order we usually do things.
Well,
Melanie.
first, yeah.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
go.
Oh no, it's okay.
But,
Any-
well, I'll be real quick because it kind of ties in, not necessarily, but to the themes of Get Out. It was just they recently, it's kind of due to COVID and also Black Lives Matter and that whole thing. It's interesting that the medical community has gotten really outspoken. There were a couple different papers written recently about racism in the medical field, and most importantly, race being added into algorithms that they use to calculate different things. Like, in general, Black people get urinary tract infections less often, so they don't do certain tests for them usually because they probably won't have it. But then they have way more undiagnosed urinary tract infections because they don't really check them for that very often. And in kids, that's a big problem because it can lead to kidney failure and stuff. So that was one of the issues. And osteoporosis is another one of those things that they've had that kind of problem with. So it isn't necessarily changing everything, but it's getting everybody talking about it. And they're having big conferences about it now and stuff about whether or not they should continue to use race as one of the factors in their algorithms and stuff.
That's pretty. I think, interestingly, I think I've heard that story. Or I've heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because it's not an intentional, like, it is like a systemic racism, but it's not like an intentionally installed system of racism. It's like kind of accidental, where but that totally makes sense because it's just saying like, hey, here's these different computer algorithms, here's these different things, here's this information, spit out whatever, I'm losing it's I can tell.
It's almost like the lupus thing, man. It's like, it's not lupus, so we're not even going to think about lupus because it's so rarely lupus.
Yeah. And then it is lupus.
Right.
No,
right.
yeah.
It's like, but he's got lupus.
Well, yeah, no. So it does seem like that's then a factor. They should tell the computer algorithm to be like, ignore this. This is not relevant when factoring this stuff together. Ignore the race thing.
Mm-hmm.
Racist computers.
Mm-hmm. Well, but
it's the future.
That's it. Welcome to the future.
Well, my rambling, losing track of what I was saying point earlier was alluding to, like, it was interesting that it's just purely on, like, people just didn't think about it when putting it into computer, versus the other, like, computer race thing you hear a lot about is AI and facial recognition having trouble with darker skinned faces, mainly because, but that's a little bit of like human racism because it's primarily based on programmers and then the material it's trained on.
Right.
Aren't usually that, that dark. So
yeah, I think a problem with AI in every field kind of has a lot to do with the biases of the people that are programming it, which is why it's not necessarily a good idea to just rely on it heavily for anything, except for finding cancer and scanning donuts as barcodes. Then it's amazing.
Donuts as barcodes.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
No, that sounds like the story you should have done.
Oh, in Japan, people like their bread wrapped or their bread products always wrapped individually. But No, they don't like them wrapped individually. They like them just on a thing. So they couldn't put barcodes on them to scan. And it was, then they'd have to train people on all the different breads. So instead they trained an AI to scan the bread and recognize what it was and use that to, ring it up. And then a doctor was buying some donuts or something and was like, I wonder if this would work on cancer because they kind of look like bread, apparently. Tumors, I guess. And it works. So they're using it to scan for tumors too.
It's interesting. It shapes and stuff. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I occasionally edit a show, a medical image, podcast about medical imaging, and they've talked about AI quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing that they're interested in, and it's for stuff like that. It's to help recognize, because otherwise it's doctors going through scans, visually trying to man.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the most fun job. It's important, but and so the idea is AI could help, at least not necessarily take it over, but help maybe catch things that human doctors don't.
See, donuts are good for us.
Donuts cure cancer.
That's the takeaway I got.
Donuts cure cancer.
Yeah.
And
they may cause cancer, but they also cure it.
If you take anything away from this episode, it's two things: donuts cure cancer, and computers are racist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yes.
You got anything coming up that you want to tell people about?
I just want to reiterate that our good friend Peter from Superior Comic Show is doing a Kickstarter for he's creating a comic book, folks. That's awesome. And it's called Valor, and you can find it on Kickstarter now. If you don't know how to find Peter, you just look for @Superior Comic 16 on pretty much any platform. He's on TikTok. He's on Twitter. We've interacted with him mostly from Twitter, but he's also on TikTok, and he's been doing the hashtag SNS challenge, which I kind of started just to bring it back, but also to kind of help get some eyes on Valor. So please go check that out.
By the way, earlier, Lem, what games are you all playing on the regular? We're not going to get sidetracked. I've been playing Satisfactory, but I haven't been streaming anything. So
I've basically just been playing Fortnite.
Jesse is
like a 13-year-old boy.
Fortnite.
What am I going to do?
Fortnite and TikTok. Oh,
I'm regressing backwards slowly in time.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's really fun. It's one of those things that I resisted for so long. It's one of those things when you just can't stand the fact that your students come into the class and that's all they'll talk about, and it's like, will you please talk about something else, anything else? I don't care what else. And so it's like you start to kind of hate that game, right? But now I'm playing the game and I'm like, I get it. It's got a timeless thing. It's super fun. Yeah. And I get to be Daredevil or Black Panther or I'm Cable a lot. I like to play as the X-Force crew. So and there's a skin right now that is basically Tron but without a face. Cool. I'm all in on that. I have a glider where you have a light trail behind you and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. It's a problem.
Your cartoon murder games.
Man, I resisted it so long, just like coffee. I didn't want to drink coffee. I never wanted to be a coffee guy. I love coffee so much. And Fortnite, they're the same. I can't live without either one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really a gamer though, so I don't have anything I'm playing except phone games.
Well, though you have been playing that one phone game, and that's a dungeon crawler. So what was that game?
Shattered Pixel Dungeon, I believe it's called.
You were playing that a bunch.
Yeah, it's hard, but I like it.
It's like old school. I mean, graphically, it's like an old school pixel game where you run around dungeon. It's an action RPG thing.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was like, wow, you're playing an action RPG dungeon crawler that looks like a pixel game. That's very not like you.
Yeah. But yeah, because I usually do puzzle games and crap like that. I like brain stuff.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of almost in between games.
Mhm. It's just
I
because you blow through them so fast. That's why
well,
you're always in between games.
Satisfactory. I just kind of ran it. I'm not quite there, but I'm approaching 1,000 hours in Satisfactory. So
Hmm.
I,
Does that feel like a satisfactory amount of hours?
no, no. Well, if I'm in it, yeah, then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get 3,000 hours. But then if I inevitably I'll get to the point where it's like there's not really anything left for me to do. I can make another like cool factory and make some stuff, but like why? Then no. Then I start to like think maybe I don't need to put 800 to 900 hours into this game. It's great, but whatever. Go play it. It's amazing. It's an amazing
Mhm.
game.
And that's why you don't play your other Steam games.
Right.
Yeah, who needs 200 other titles when you only play one?
Yeah, I've been on the simulation games for a while. I started playing a little bit more Empire TV Empire Icon or something. Um, it's fun, but it's kind of slow. Speaking of, let's pick up the pace and end this thing.
Oh,
Uh,
real quick though, since he gave us that last topic, if you guys are on Twitch, check out the Gametographers on Twitch. What is it?
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/the Gametographers. Check it out. He does all sorts of like game photography and all sorts of stuff. He's got like two
Wait,
or
what?
three Twitch channels and several TikToks, but
Did
check
you
him
say
out.
game photography?
Game
thing?
photography, yeah, it's
Wow.
fascinating watching
you-
him do it
What
too.
do you mean?
Like like screen capture, but way more elaborate. Like there's
Wow.
photo editing software for like taking a moment in a game and then just like
Yeah. No, I love
making
that.
it
I'm
even
actually
more dramatic. It's awesome. Yeah,
It's
he
like-
does some great work.
It's like Eastshade, but for everything.
that's super fascinating to me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of it's kind of the machinima version of photography, right? Like where machinima was using games to make videos.
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
That's awesome. That was what kind of one of my favorite when I was doing the Skyrim live streams, pimping out some nice thumbnails based on screenshots and taking screenshots in Skyrim kind of became one of my favorite aspects of that. So anyway, pretty cool.
And I
I'll have to check it
apologize
out.
if I super simplified that, but like
Hmm.
that's the best way I could describe it, I guess.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. That's awesome.
Friday the 13th off a little bit, but I will be doing a GCU be,
Mhm.
because I was like, you know what? There's one more Friday the 13th movie I haven't talked about. Might as well throw another Friday the 13th special out there,
Mhm.
and so that'll be for GCU. I don't know exactly what. I kind of want to approach it a little bit differently, but that's not for a few weeks now. So
Hmm.
that's the only thing I can think of offhand that
Mhm.
I should pimp. Unless you need podcast editing, go to podedit.com, PODEDIT.
Yes, Gameographer, do drop a link, please.
Yeah. Do it. I'll leave. You know what? I'll wait. And I'll say
We've got
an
a. I
audio
feel like we've
podcast.
got a delay to.
Oh, it might not show here.
What's
Hold
not
on.
showing?
I'll hop over to. Let me hop over to Twitch and see if it'll show me over there, because we're not looking
Oh.
at the chat directly through Twitch, and it's censoring it here.
It's weird. Why would it do
Well,
that?
generally it's not a bad thing because
Spammers?
bots will just come in and drop it.
Yeah,
spam
yeah.
links.
Oh sure.
Spam.
So give me just a moment.
Okay,
What I meant to do.
you can have a moment.
Didn't I do this last week? I got all frustrated because I was trying to get into Twitch's, like, where's the
Oh yeah, but you were trying to
administrative-
kick somebody,
the-
right?
the
Like there was a
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that time there was a spammer. Yeah,
right.
I'll get there.
because polite people ask permission, eh?
No, yeah, that's super nice of him. Actually, I do appreciate that. I'll get there.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of like Ratchet and Clank photos because the new Ratchet and Clank came out. But like, there's a lot of games that have like a cool photo mode. This is like a whole aspect of gaming that I hadn't really thought about, but like it makes perfect sense, especially with technology like ramping up to make it that much better.
Mm-hmm. You know, now that I think about it, there's very few games anymore that I've played that don't have like a photo option.
Right.
So yeah.
When I mean, because Skyrim, you know, Skyrim's great anyway, but but like you have to go to the menus and switch the thing off to like get rid of the UI and then hop back and whatever. And then after that, I was playing that Mad Max game, and Mad Max has like a dedicated screenshot like mode where you pause and go into it, and it gives you like filters and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, yes, this is amazing. Do all games do this now? Because it's great. I love it.
Oh God, I'll spend even more time on Fortnite, Lem. If you teach me how to do it in Fortnite. I did take a couple screenshots, but they were just because I was like, I gotta prove it to people that I can win. I can win sometimes. I did kill everyone as Rick Sanchez.
But were you
I'm Jesse Rick. You.
I just watched, I can't remember what episode, but you know, I've been rewatching Rick and Morty with Gabe on Thursdays, yeah. And my niece goes up here too. Well, both of them actually. So we're sitting there, we're watching it, and I forget sometimes that they're so young. And we had just gotten past Pickle Rick, but something happened, and they were like, the little one, the 8-year-old, she's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, you know what? You probably shouldn't even be in here right now. Go in the other room. I'm not explaining none of this to you.
Hey, Lem, which what URL were you trying to send in there? To your Twitch channel, to one of the links on your Twitch channel? Because I'm on your Twitch channel now, and I'll just share it myself since I'm old, too old for Twitch even, and I can't figure out how to get to see what you had posted.
I think he was sharing his gallery, but it just looks like 3 little dots in our chat.
Yeah.
In that case, I don't know how well this is going to come across.
But if you're watching this, you can look in the show notes. Or if you're watching it later,
I will include it in the show notes. If it was the gallery.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's I shared it just now.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're on Twitch, okay, I see. But PWLLEM at smugmug.com. And yeah, I'll include that in the show notes too, because why not? Okay. Awesome. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back, I guess, next Thursday.
Yeah.
At 8:30 while everyone else is streaming.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I was gonna mention because Paul he told me, you know, whatever the actor is playing Pinhead is gonna be hosting a live podcast on Thursdays at 8 on Twitch, and he's like, it's getting crowded on Thursdays, and I was gonna mention it, and then I was like, wait, why would I do that? I want to mention that on our show while we go live. On Thursdays at 8. Right. So much easier to say thegametographers.com. Right. If you have that URL, you can always set up a redirect or something. Much like if people wanted to, I don't know, go to Humble Bundle and use an affiliate link, they could do grawlixpodcast.com/Humble Bundle.
Or just type in nerdsounds.com and see where it takes you.
See where that takes you.
It's really weird. You might wind up here. Weird.
Maybe if you're like, hey, I feel like supporting someone on Patreon, you could type in grawlixpodcast.com/Patreon, or I guess the less convoluted way and just patreon.com/grawlixpodcast. Point is, you know, what are they called? Links. Redirects are fun.
I think I wonder how many people are going to use nerdsounds.com and expect to see me like smashing a toy box and be like, what is this? What is this? He's just not smashing any toys.
I don't see any toy smashing on here.
Why is he talking about Loki?
Oh man. Okay.
All right.
All that stuff and more. Next week, we swear.
We'll have a topic?
Maybe.
Or we
It's-
swear. I thought this was the Grawlix podcast where we don't swear.
Next week, a lot of beeping.
Next week we swear we get
So
someone
many
fired.
beeps. Thanks for tuning in, Lem.
Yep. And only Lem. Screw everyone else.
And everyone else. And also our other friends.
I think he was the last one left, actually.
Oh, yeah. Last man standing for sure.
I think you're right.
Mhm.
About the time we started talking exclusively to him, everybody else is like, I'm out.
Mhm.
Right.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.
Bye.